and welcome back to Divine Rebel. My name is Racy, and I'm going to be giving the messages for you today. This is for Virgo and Virgoian energies for February 2021. It is a general message, so take it as it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. If it doesn't, please don't force it to fit, okay? Please don't force it to fit. Just take what resonates. For those of you who are not familiar with me or the channel, and you're new, please understand I have no filter. I do not sugarcoat my messages. I just read how I read. If that's not your thing, you got kids around, you know, it's just not your type of video, then that's fine. I completely respect that. That's why I give you the opportunity to sign off now. All right, otherwise, Virgo, we are getting into this for February. So Spirit, please. Virgo and Virgoian energies. What is going on February 2021 for Virgo and Virgoian energies? What is going on? Virgo, why do I feel like you're on... It's almost like you feel like you're on wobbly ground when really you've got wobbly knees. You feel like your footing's like something's keeping you from standing on your feet. All right, Spirit, what's going on for Virgo? All right, give me some clarity, please. We've got some major cards here. See if I can get these on camera for you, right? Okay. So we got the Chariot on top. And we've got the Death card in the back face on the bottom. You might be dealing with a Cancer or have someone with strong Cancerian energy in their chart, or this is highlighting your own Cancerian energy. Okay, so understand what placements, especially if you have wounded elements that are in your house ruled by Cancer. Because this is about moving forward. This is about wanting to heal, and it's also about either being slow or stuck, because the driving force behind this Chariot looks like it is slowing down and stopping. You look determined, but your mojo isn't really helping you out there. All right. Or that might be the person that you're dealing with. They might be really trying hard and determined to heal, and they're not getting anywhere, right? Because that's the energy that I'm getting off this Chariot, and it's requiring a transformation. It's requiring a death of egos, or tete-a-tetes where people had disagreed, and allowing the feminine energy between you to rebirth, or the receptive energy allowing you both to receive the light, to transform darkness into light. To see the beauty behind the journey, right? It's almost like you can't move forward. Wow, and the Three of Wands is under that, like, and that's a journey card. You can't move forward until you see the beauty of where you've been. because what's the point of traveling if you're not going to enjoy and take in all the spectacular views, right? It's like traveling at night and missing all the beauty because you're not in the day, and it's bringing the light back to the journey, going through the transformation. Because transformation is staring, I think, both of you and someone else right in the face. Especially because the demons are starting to become a part of the walls. All right. That's... Spirit ain't obviously having it. Okay, that's why we're talking about this stuff. Okay. So you might definitely be in a place right now, the beginning of February, where you feel very independent. You might be having communications or telepathic communications or dream state communications with another person who is distant from you, but the messages and the energy are being received. They do feel or sense that your heart comes in peace, and Spirit's trying to get them that message that you're not a threat. It's almost like Spirit's trying to convince them you're not a threat. Or you're hoping that someone doesn't look at you like you're the enemy or you're the bad guy. Because the whoever is up in the tower receiving the messages from Spirit about the vibration of this 9 of coins, this is a single or independent female. Okay, a single or independent female, or someone who has that archetype. Someone you would view that way. Right? Very independent, very self-sufficient. Someone who you may have felt was your divine counterpart, or someone who was happy and in a joyful home situation with you at some point. Even though maybe your way of doing things is very different. Because the 4 of Wands is... I mean, it's known as a twin flame card. I'm not actually entirely getting that energy. So that might resonate for you, you know, hoping that your counterpart is getting the message that you are not their enemy. I think there's definitely understanding of this. There's definitely communication happening of that, you know, about that, whether you're completely aware of it or not. It's almost like you're dancing along with this person through life. And you see how, even though he's very different, he's very unique character, his arms around her, but both her arms are pulled away. And maybe she's clapping, or maybe she's subconsciously pushing away. And I think that might be the fear that is here. I think that might be the fear that is here. Wondering if someone is truly applauding you and embracing you in the life moving forward with them, or if they're pulling away from you. And if that's the case, and that's where your thought process is, then you really have to get in touch with how you are pulling away from your own heart, knowing that the way you do things is different, but accepting and loving yourself, right? Accepting and loving yourself. Because if you're giving or receiving a telepathic kind of or understood message to someone, or you want that kind of understanding or firm, solid belief from someone else that they're on your team, then you really got to understand what it means to be on your own team and what you're creating when it comes to joy and stability in soul, right? Because the 4 of Wands represents spirit and soul fire. Creating joy and happiness there with yourself. There aren't parts of yourself that can really give you a hard time, or you're going to feel like other people could pop up with a hard time. Does that make sense? Okay. Then we get the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a card of high commitments and high contracts, a card of tradition, which you might be against because this Hierophant is masked. You might think that, you know, high soul contracts or marriage is bullshit, and that's fine. But I feel like in order for you to truly understand the level of commitment needed from you for yourself, knowing that you've crossed a certain threshold, that this mask, right, you understand that maybe even marriage is an empty institution, right? Because that mask is also on top of this tower, and the tower is empty inside. The tower is broken inside. You might be putting on a facade that you have it all together, that you are contracted to be a certain way, and that is of the ego. Because the tower comes in, I mean, here's that chariot, right? The two sphinxes on the chariot card. They crashed into the tower. The reason why you stopped or were slowing down, why the universe was slowing you down, is because whatever you've committed to or defined yourself as, definitively, right, that you've sworn it, the universe will put you on a path through the dark night. The dark night of the soul is a lonely one. Lots of epiphanies, lots of lightning, lots of fire, right? You see the synchronicities within those two cards. The Knight of Wands does not know how to commit to what's higher in soul. This is about evolving past the mask that you've sworn your high self to. This is allowing a certain level of growth. There's certain keys at your feet that you're being given and you're not receiving them. And whatever cross you're holding or whatever righteousness you're standing for, there's a snake wrapped around it, which means that it's going to come back and bite you later. The back of this card has a tetragrammaton on it for protection, and the inner child holds the key. You've got to go back to a version of yourself before you so strictly defined yourself, because this is about strict definitions. Akashic history, you might have replayed this Akashic history and feel like you've always been this way. And if you were any way before in past lives, you'd be the same way, because that's how in stone you've set yourself in the definition of yourself. It's like history repeating. And your inner child holds the key. You're not going anywhere until you break that mask, until you break that definition. Spirit's not having it. Spirit's not having it. And when I say spirit, I mean your spirit, your highest self, truly. Something in you knows might be in denial about how detrimental this mask is. You might really, truly feel like it's become a part of your person, a part of your persona. That it is your face because you've been wearing it so long, but it's a fucking mask. And a mask is a mask, and the mask has to be removed. And we get into the Hanged Man with the Three of Cups. Which means you've got to make heart over head decisions, and you can't be distracted. You can't actually be distracted from this healing. So if the universe has to break everything in your reality down in order to remove the mask, it will. It'll send you on a path that is technically through the dark night, okay, through the storm. And you're going to feel like everything is on you and you got to do it on your own, which isn't necessarily the case. However, it doesn't mean you're not perceiving it that way. Like you have to rebuild your mask. Listen, you ain't going nowhere if you're taking time to rebuild that mask. You got to rebuild your chariot. If that's the space you're in, your chariot was slowing down for good reason and you kept pushing it forward and pushing it forwards, your higher self just said, yo, if you don't understand the importance of the movement and the divine intervention and the divine miracle of the chariot, the nurturing, right, Cancerian energy, if you don't understand how important it is to nurture, and that nurturing creates the miracles that you are truly driven to experience in soul, this joy, this connection, feeling like whoever you're with isn't not connecting to you, you need to nurture the connection. You need to consider it more, right? Cancerian energy. You need to consider it more. Otherwise, the universe is definitely going to force a transformation on you. It's definitely going to force a transformation on you. This is called being blindsided. And realizing that everything you were standing for in this mask is empty. That the Hierophant figure is empty. The foundation or the structure that you've to find yourself on is an empty one. It's keeping you stuck. It's costing you. It's costing you. You have to fix your chariot first. Someone is manifesting, right? And this could definitely be your heart space, and maybe your heart's distracted with other things that your heart's tied to. Not that you can't love multiple things. It's just one thing has more of a presence in the forefront than the others. And the universe is trying to give you the message. And I feel like there's definitely a challenge to your higher self, your greater self. Universe is trying to shift your perspective because your perspective is stuck and stagnant. That's what the Hanged Man is. The perspective is stuck and stagnant because it's making logical choices over heartfelt choices, choices that feel better to make. You're thinking a certain way, and Spirit's like, you're not going anywhere until you can flip yourself upright and recognize the value of heart over head decisions. That's when we get this Ace of Cups. The issue is it's clarified by the five of coin. Now this is feminine and masculine energy. If your heart's overflowing or it needs to be able to overflow, you might be without certain structures for a while. You might be without or feel like you're striking out with life and you're rolling snake eyes and you're crapping out. But the fact of the matter is the heart wants what it wants. The soul wants what it wants. It wants to be at peace. It wants to overflow. It wants to nurture itself so that it can truly nurture others. Because if the self is not in a state of love with the self, it can't actually ripple love the way that is necessary for your path forward with others that are meant to be on your path with you. You might have a goddess in your life who is rock solid, who's just flowing and flowing and pouring love and pouring that deeper understanding, that nurturance energy, offering peace. And you're sitting here feeling like you're crapped out and you're tired. And you're not a part of it. Feeling like you're crippled. Feeling like a bum. Because your energy and this energy are so starkly different. Sitting in the ice cold snow when you could be enjoying this. If you want this energy, Ace of Cups, brand new emotional beginnings, even if it's with a reoccurring or current partner, if you want a fresh emotional beginning, you got to stop feeling like crap. You got to stop feeling like the bum outside who's crapping out with life and who doesn't actually fit in where they're trying to fit in. You got to stop crippling yourself. You've got to let love win on this one. I mean, you really do. I mean, you got a twin flame card here. You got a high soul contract here. You've got someone who is obviously the focus, and there's distractions around that are keeping you from really seeing them for the beautiful person they are, because they're not technically facing you. They're looking forward and they're looking up and they're asking for blessed, loving miracles. And I think that's what the universe ends up manifesting. You can't feel undeserving. You can't feel like you don't fit in with it. You can't feel like you're not a part of that world, because there's a lot of positivity going on surrounding the feminine energies and a lot of really crazy and or gnarly dark energy with the masculine cards. Any of the images where there's a feminine, it's actually really bright. There's peace being offered here. 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 There's doves all around that feminine energy in all of these cards. There's a dove and multiple doves and a dove. The feminine energy is in tune with spirit and the love of spirit, okay? That's a given. Your heart might be very much in the right place, but your choices are not. Which means you got to get yourself in alignment. You've got to make better choices, because your choices are not reflecting the beautiful heart you have under there. And that's the problem. That's why you're slowing down. Your choices are not reflecting the nurturing heart that you have behind the mask. Just understand that, okay? Understand that. If you got a lot of love for someone or a lot of love to give and your focus is elsewhere, or you're not reciprocating, that's what Spirit's focusing on. All right. Spirit, what's the guiding advice card? This is my Whispers of Love deck, and I use them as action cards. I'm pulling that one too. Okay. Yeah, I love you is very important words. Be willing to express your love and do something for someone else. You've got to really consider someone. It's important to express your love. When we express love, we begin to receive more love. If you're withdrawing loving actions, loving words, loving consideration, if you're withdrawing these things or have excuses for these things because your masculine energy is defined in its choices, you got to recognize that you need to choose different. You can't get more love and receive more love from your experience as a whole when you're not actually giving your attention to the people that are obviously trying to communicate with you that they come in peace or want to bring you peace or offer you peace and keep you moving forward. You've got to cherish them. And the only way to truly cherish them is to cherish yourself and possibly completely redefine yourself. Because the masculine energy you're stuck in creates bullshit. You can have all the love in the world flowing at you, and you're still going to feel like you're feeling like crap. You can have all this blessing and all this love flowing and all this peace being offered around you, and you're still going to feel like you're crapping out at life and that you don't belong and that you might lose it all and that it's all worthless. You've got to realign your headspace. Masculine energy has to do with the mind. You've got to realign your headspace to match your heart space. You've got to start putting all the love you have inside in your actions in a different way. You might be focusing so much on one particular person that's a distraction, or multiple areas that are distractions. You're looking at them face on. You could see them. They're facing you. That's what you're actually focusing on and looking at, these things in the background, when really you need to face this. You need to face the divine feminine presence in front of you that wants to be filled. Because this is your heart asking the divine to be filled. And if you don't shift your perspective, the universe is going to give it to you and you're not going to see it. The Hanged Man. If you don't change your perspective, you're praying for more love or you're praying for a miracle, and the universe might give it to you outright and say, yes, this cup you hold, it's full. Not only is it full, it's rock solid, it's overflowing. The cuppeth overfloweth. And you wouldn't see it. Because you're too busy feeling like crap. So, don't say the universe don't love you. You got to be able to say I love you to yourself. Challenge yourself. Look in the mirror and say I love you. Can you do it? Can you look in the mirror and say I love you and not feel like you're lying to yourself or forcing it out? Because that's what you got to work on. That's what you got to work on. You got to love yourself. Because when you truly love yourself, that's when you truly can give and receive with the people in your life that love you the most, that are going forward with you on this journey. That's when this doesn't become an illusion or something that you're not seeing, something that you don't feel a part of. Don't hold back expressions of love. Don't hold back expressions of love, whether they're spoken words or taken actions. Okay, I hope that helps, Virgo, for February. I hope that helps. All right, until next time.